If you didn't know, Vanny is currently a considered character for Bye Bye Night. Not confirmed since they can't think of a good concept for her. But have no fear, for I am here, as I made a moveset that makes sense for her. At least I hope they make sense for her, or else I worked on this for nothing. Let's get into the thick of it now. I imagined her as a rushdown killer, and with that idea in mind, I also tried to make her abilities make sense within Bye Bye Night style, like how I tried with Puppet's concept. But for now, let's say that she'll cost 12k scraps. I think that's fair. And hopefully you agree after seeing what she can do. Talking about what she can do, let's get into her speed and passives. Her run speed will be 23.5, which is a little slower than Survivor's. Their run speed is 24. 24 what? I don't know. Studs. Her walk speed would be 14, because that's like the average walk speed for every other color in this game. I made up 3 passives for her. Her first one being the Vanny Mask. It gives her screen the purple filter and she'll be able to see phaseable objects. So pretty much the technician class, which is it's always on, and she will be able to phase through objects, and it will have a meter that drains every time she uses it. Her second passive is called Glitch Disturbance. An area around Vanny will apply a distorted effect to survivors like in Security Breach. The closer she is, the stronger the distortion is. This will also highlight nearby survivors in its radius. Her third passive. This passive is a negative passive. Any stuns that hit her will be more effective since she isn't a robot. So for example, if a fighter's basic stun is 3 seconds, then for Vanny it would be 3.5. If she's getting tased, her stamina might slowly drain, stuff like that. Alright, I got through her passives I made up. Let's talk about her abilities real quick. So, her first ability, which every single killer has, it's a basic swing. In her case, it's a knife swing, which does 20 damage plus bleed, which adds another 10 damage over time for a total of 30 damage. Its cooldown would be pretty short, 2.2. If you don't know, Spring Traps is 2.5, so I think it's fair, she's just swinging her knife. I feel like that'd be pretty quick. Her second ability is Gut Stab. She lunges forward with her knife. If it lands on a survivor, it plays an animation of Vanny stabbing into their torso, then throwing them away and taking her knife back, which ragdolls the survivor. This move is counterable and is it's more like Ennard's command grab, so no camera cinematics, and it will definitely be shorter than him repeatedly stabbing into you, because it's just a simple gut stab, not whatever he does. This attack will do 25% of the survivor's health, like how Spring Trap's charge does only 40%, but it's weaker. And also will apply bleed that does 12 damage over time. I also think it'd be cool if Vanny did like the knife wipe thing that Springtrap did from the movie. And yes, I know Springtrap didn't invent that. Ability 3, Corrupted Reach, or Mind Virus. I can't really think of a good name. Vanny reaches out her hand, releasing a purple particle, this thing, that goes towards the cursor. If she hits someone with this, they'll be stunned and remain immobile for the duration of the move. They'll also take tick damage, like maybe 2 damage every 2 seconds. This will also add a new bar above their head if they're getting hit by the attack, called the Virus Bar. I will explain that later. Vanny is able to walk towards the immobile survivor and swing at them if they want, or away if you want, I don't know. She can walk anywhere after stunning a survivor, but she can't run towards them. If you're the survivor, don't worry, you can escape from this ability with a minigame, though the difficulty depends on rage. Also, if you're wondering about the aiming, it's kind of like Ennard's grab. And it might also slightly curve at the very end. If the survivor touches the purple mist at any point, they will get hit by it, so it has a lingering hitbox. She could be stunned on startup of the ability, and she could be stunned if she's, corrupting a survivor. And also this move can't be countered, because how are you going to counter that? The cooldown is 14 seconds. This move can also be used on generators, with a different animation of course. And Vanny has to be close to the generator to do it, she can't just be like across the map and it also adds an extra progress bar to finish the generator. Also, if a survivor works on an infected generator, they'll slowly gain progress on the virus bar, and it'll also highlight them. Doing that move on a generator gives it a 10-second cooldown, and she also can't just do that on completed generators. Let me talk about the new effect real quick before I get into her fourth ability, which is the virus bar. This bar is given to a survivor that is either getting hit by the third ability or fourth, or doing an infected generator. A survivor getting hit by the third ability increases the bar faster than if they're doing a generator. This bar should take a while to fully max out since the third ability, if it fills the bar faster than the other 2 ways, that move can get interrupted by Vanny herself if she chooses to hit the survivor, or if the survivor beats the minigame, or if Vanny gets stunned out of the ability. What does this bar even do? Well, once the bar gets to at least 80% completion on the survivor, then it will buff her second and fourth ability. It will give her a variant of her moves. I'll talk about those variants after I'm done with her last ability. So, Ability 4. I don't really have a name for it, but I have a voice line she'll judge you. Vanny quickly does a funny pose, and then very quickly charges forward. Like, this will be the fastest charge in-game. This charge is faster than Spring Traps, but will drain way faster. This move is counterable, by the way. Landing this charge on a survivor plays an animation of her forcing an infected Vanny mask on the survivor, which shocks them before ending with the survivor ripping the mask off. This ability will do a big 30 damage, and also inflicts a new debuff and weakness to them. It also will not ragdoll the survivor if they get hit by it, so they'll be able to run away. This ability will also add 10% to the virus bar, and if you don't have one, then it will give them the virus bar and also, add up 10%. If Vanny kills a survivor using this ability, then it will have a special kill animation. This special animation could even have a cool voice line of her being disappointed. Why would she be disappointed? Well, remember how I said there's two variants if a survivor's bar is at least 80%? By the way, the cooldown is 25 seconds. Let's talk about those variants I mentioned a little while back. The very first variant ability is her second ability, Gut Stab. If she uses this ability on a survivor whose bar, at 80% or higher, then it would change to Virus Inject. Her landing this ability on a survivor would change it to a cinematic, so it will have a shortcut scene like Springtrap's charge. Vanny will stab the survivor in the gut like usual, but this time she'll grab their head and force them to look into her eyes before throwing them away and taking her knife back. This version does 40% of the survivor's health, plus 14 bleed damage, and also adds a new debuff called Malhair. The new debuff, let me explain it real quick. The new debuff, Malhair. This debuff will stick with the survivor forever until they use an ability, which then it will go away. What does this do? Well, if a survivor tries to use an ability that's off cooldown, it will lock the ability for an extra 10 seconds. Fourth ability variant. So, this is, the buff version if she lands this ability on a survivor whose bar is at 80% like I said before. Same funny pose, same quick charge, and still counterable, but if she lands it on a survivor, it will do 10 extra damage, and it will put the same debuffs, and still won't ragdoll. But if this version kills, it plays a new animation of the survivor getting infected with the glitch trap virus, becoming a minion. She'll probably have an animation of her being like giddy in the background, and I feel like that'd be pretty fun if a survivor turns. Oh, and once Vanny has a minion, her fourth ability gets replaced. Alright, let's talk about what the minion can do. So, if you're a survivor and you get turned into a minion, you can run around as fast as a normal survivor, but your stamina is reduced by 70. You can grab other survivors for a measly 10 damage, but you'll stun them for a while until the survivor plays a short minigame to break out. If the minion gets stunned, I'd say maybe 5 times, the mask they're wearing will get destroyed and the survivor will finally die. And Vanny will regain her fourth ability that she lost. She'll also regain it if a minion leaves the game or just dies. Let's talk about the fourth ability replacement, if she, gets a minion. So, I guess ability 5? Control Program. This ability has a pop-up, kinda like how if you try to use Mimic's swap, it will pop up to 3 different modes. The two moves that pops up, the first move is Teleport, which lets her teleport near the area where the minion is. This will have a 45-second cooldown. And her second ability to be Terminate, which terminates the current minion, which will give her back her OG fourth ability. And its cooldown doesn't really matter too much, but if she uses this ability on a minion and they die and she gets her fourth ability back, it'll put her fourth ability on a 7-second cooldown. Right, let's talk about her phase, because I did say that would be an ability, and it won't be an ability. And it won't be a move that's gonna show up on the bottom corner, like, every other killer's moves. This time, this move will pop up every time she gets nearby a phaseable object. But once she phases through an object, her first ability, the swing every killer has, yeah, her swing gets replaced with a variant. So, ability 7, I guess. Crescent Swing. Instead of Vanny doing a normal swing, she will do a more horizontal swing, which ragdolls anybody hit by it. This variant of her swing deals 14 damage, so less, but it will also do bleed for 24 damage. So you're losing out on 6 damage, but you will ragdoll how many people you hit in this more horizontal ability. The cooldown will be short, it will turn it back into 2.2 seconds. This ability isn't really needed, but I just kinda thought it'd be cool. That's the only reason I added it. But yeah, that's the end. I gave her nearly 3 pages worth of abilities, meaning I might have done some quantity over quality with her moveset, but overall I'm pretty pleased. I just tried to make a rushdown moveset that makes sense with the character. At least I hope it makes sense. It was pretty tough thinking of the moves for her, since there's like nothing Vanny does to make a moveset out of. It's pretty criminal how little she does in her own game. And sadly I don't think we're gonna get more of her, since the Mimic seems to be the new cool guy in town. And well, he's not new at all, he's been there since Help Wanted, but you know what I mean. I also had this thought while making this. Since Vanny is just someone being possessed by Glitch Trap, the devs could make her model kinda like a Roblox model instead of her own 3D character, like Springtrap. It'd be cool, but I'd prefer her having her own model, because imagine the skins. I think I've said everything I wanted to. If you have some critiques on my moveset, or if you have any of your own ideas, use the comment section. I do read it, and I would like to see other Vanny killer concepts, since she's a pretty cool character, and I think she'd make a cool killer in game. I hope they add her. Well, alright, that's all I got now. See ya.